Here it is, the third video. It's still the 14th of March, 2026. Time index right now is about 5 before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was talking about experiences, places that I've lived, and about spirituality, religion, God, and everything else. And how some of these charlatans would prey upon people left and right. They did that on television. They had their own soapboxes and kept praying to people that they're giving gloom and doom and everything else. But give them money and they'll whatever they're going to do. But at the time, I knew what feeling of spirituality was all about. I knew the feelings. I knew the experiences. I was in touch with it. And having that experience of life after death for a few times, just popping out of the body was an experience enough in as it is. But getting pushed back from heaven because it wasn't my time. I'm 4 years old. I had to grow. I had to mutate. I had to do something. I had to live. I didn't understand. I had a built up resentment and anger and confusion and fear over this thing. I didn't realize. I didn't understand. I was a 4-year-old. How the hell was I supposed to understand? And I guess that way it kind of pushed me aside, or pushing God aside, because I couldn't feel him anymore. I couldn't feel it anymore. I went to the different churches, but even the one church that my family would go to, or First United Methodist Church in North Hollywood, that I would feel God over there, right? But I didn't. It was only one time that, in between some of those visits, my grandmother and aunt would not be able to traverse over to First United. So I had to keep them home and they'd watch televangelists on the television. But across the street during the summertime, I'd go over to a church. And that one summer, when Aunt May had issues with a pacemaker in her heart, and she had to go to the hospital, and I was afraid. I was scared. I was terrified. And I had to make a plea to God. I had to make a plea to Jesus. I wasn't selling my soul to the devil on this one, that's for sure, but I was going over to church and seeing something, feeling something, wondering. And as I was trying to explain it in the previous video, what that energy level was like, it is beyond words, recognition, intense feelings of love, of peace, of an energy level that would suffocate you. Think of yourself as being hugged a great deal by this warm energy field. And you can't breathe because you feel your lungs, your body's being squeezed. I miss that feeling these days. And all that time, after I had that experience, I thought, it was wonderful having that, but then life takes over and you get stressed and pressured and turn into an ogre again. Only when I turned into a 16, 17-year-old teenager, grandma already passed, mom's trying to deal with things, and it's in the summertime. And she sends me over to a YMCA camp. Somewhere out in the hills of the Angeles National Forest, I think in between fire seasons, because it burned down a long time ago, and I missed that place. But it was a camping area right across from Boy Scout territory, separated by a canyon. Called it Camp 365. It was coming out of a YMCA camp in Tahunga. In this camp, learn skills, learn how to shoot things. But also you learned about religion. They had offered to people, or actually to the kids, girls and boys, that Would you like to experience Jesus or God? Become Blue Raggers. A program that they had for the kids and for the young adults, I guess. I may have been bargain at bottom of the barrel at this point, but I've been still got the ragger. It's buried right here somewhere. And going through the process that they had, you had to completely surrender yourself. I mean, emotionally, spiritually, everything. You had to surrender yourself to this. And I tried. I tried. And I had. I had. And I felt that same energy. I felt as if I was welcomed back. Like the energy never left me. And I wish I had that again. Throughout my life, I've been trying to search for that feeling. When you have life hitting you left and right, I kept praying for it, the damn thing. I didn't search for it with chemically, or maybe I did, I don't remember. Not using drugs, maybe alcohol, but it didn't work. But I know, in one essence, I am an alcoholic in spirit. When you get dependent on something external, it doesn't give you anything, except it takes away a lot of stuff out of you. But one thing I wanted was that energy, that feeling of peace that somebody actually gave a shit about me. I got buried with anger, with frustration, with fear. Life hitting me left and right, losing people left and right, mourning, grieving, not being part of, wishing that I was part of something special, part of a group or something I could be part of, like a family. And growing up, I didn't have that, guys. I didn't have that. Yeah, I was trying to be part of my family, of my mama and my brother and the dogs, and maybe some other people were in my life. Family that I grew up with for about almost 40 years. Things happened and we all parted ways. When you lose patriarchs and matriarchs, it kicks your ass. And that's how it's been feeling. And every time, for the past nearly 20 years, it's been getting harder and harder to deal with that. Especially when I lost people closer to me, that I've allowed to be close to me. And it hurts. The loss does. It's like parts of your heart being ripped out. And your emotional and spiritual heart is just barely beating while the physical is struggling with the physical pressure of it all. I keep asking, where's God at this point? Maybe I'm not doing a good job of taking care of things. Maybe I screwed things up with God. I don't know. But I feel like I've missed out on a lot of things that should not have been. I don't know whether or not I've done anything to be part of that or not. I know there'll be other spiritual people saying, follow me, follow me, follow me. Yeah, I've heard those guys on the television. I've heard them on different places. Follow me, I know, I know. No, you don't. And I'm not dealing with these schmucks. You guys want, you guys grift, and then you go somewhere else. And I don't deal with liars, cheats, thieves, and con men. If you are a part of the spirit, then you don't need to grift people. You don't need to shortchange them or screw them over one way or another, or just confuse the living crap out of them. They feel like you're just thinking you're being taken advantage of. You know? And that's what I'm saying these days. Throughout my life, people taking advantage of it, right? How gullible. And they probably look at me and say, "You're gullible." I said, "No. I know things that I've gone through that helped me a great deal. I know that I still am emotional turmoil. And maybe spiritual as well, but the spirit is still trying to ground itself. Not with someone else's fanciful words, but with some of the things and some of the memories I have that make me feel like maybe I am part of something. And I may be scared in the mortal world concerning about the things I don't want to go through. Sharp items. Skin being torn apart left and right, or stabbed left and right, or that kind of thing. And there are people out there telling me that they know better and they've got this version here and viewpoint here and this, and I should. And I'm like, no. Because I see you guys as fools and idiots. Because I know I'm one. I'm a fool and an idiot. But not to the point where I'm saying that this person's got to be the person I got to follow. I keep asking myself, where's my faith and trust in God? And sometimes I have to keep asking myself, and then I have to automatically know that answer, wouldn't I? Because if I'm still searching for God, then God knows where I am. And I keep saying, just reach out, Chad. And there have been times that I needed that experience and that peace, or just a little bit of calmness anyway for a situation. You guys been knowing that I've been having issues with my foot. I haven't shown what the gory details look like. They're too damn gross, even for me to look at. I want to throw up. But in dealing with one particular aspect of pain, the sharpness of a needle. I always hate getting stabbed. I always hate getting turned into a damn pincushion. I still do. Even with the medical condition I've got concerning about type 2. Yeah, type 2 diabetes. I don't want to take insulin for the rest of my life. And I'm always afraid I may not have a choice. But I want to take care of myself to the best of my ability. And I'm not doing a very good job at it sometimes. I'm scared of things are happening. And I don't know how to deal with it. But I have to keep praying about it. I have to keep turning it over. Because if God wants me to walk by faith, I would have to have plenty of examples in my past and understand it. Case in point. One time going in for the first time CT, take a look at my right foot. And I'm in a gurney, waiting. And waiting. It's taken me about 4 or 5 hours. But in that time, one can contemplate what history and things I had to go through. And then I kept worrying about mostly of who's going to take care of my dog, Mamas. I wanted to know she was going to be safe before I would feel like I was safe. And then I got a message. Text message on the phone. She's alright. Got somebody watching over her. I kept praying to God, thank you, God. Do with me as you will. And I kept saying the serenity prayer all the time. And I did. And here comes one of the lab techs. One of the vampires were able to suck out a vial of your blood. Blah. Yeah, here we go with this one, guys. So one of the lab techs come by. And it says, yeah, ready for you, Mr. Weaver. Okay. I'm ready for the sharpness of the pain. I'm not even looking at the guy. He gets it wrapped. And just steady it down there. Okay. It felt maybe a little bit of a sharpness, but not much. And about a few seconds later, okay, I'm done. He's already got it wrapped. And I'm looking at it. Like, you gonna do it? Yeah, I'm going to another person right now. They don't get to see me again. I'm like, darn. That's what happened. So I didn't panic. I didn't freak out. I was just laying there praying the Serenity Prayer, just trying to relax. Give enough of attention over here so I could pop that vein out and just got it in there, got it out. And I didn't freak as much. But there was another time, like weeks later, I'm going in there with an infection, fighting it off with antibiotics. They got an IV hookup right in here. It's still sore as hell. It's been about several weeks, and it's still sore as hell. And I had to deal with this guy telling corny jokes, trying to see if I'm going to be that much humorous, and I'm trying to deal with humor because I'm terrified and scared shitless. And he's got to put the IV of the antibiotics in here. He couldn't stick it in the eye. No, he just sticks it in the wrist because it's popping out. It's calling for him. And I'm feeling it, though. I'm feeling the sharpness. I'm feeling the pain. And then I'm feeling that damn needle in there. Then after that, it's just being reminded after it's been taped on there and knowing that my muscles and nerves are having a field day over this damn shit. Speaking of which, my dog is awake. What the rest going on? I'll get to her in a minute. And again, I have to reach out for faith on this one. Not to any of those charlatans out there, but I just had to pray on this one. Trust me, guys, when you get into situations like that, and you will be, you'll run into your own situations where you'll need that assurance. It'll happen in its own way, its own time, its own form. Meanwhile, I've got a dog who needs my attention for right now. That's what I got to deal with. That being said, on all three of them.